drugs to schools. At least 8 dead and dozens injured in Kyiv as its strike on the Ukrainian capital. The listeners, today is Tuesday, 26th of Shawwal 1446 upon him, equivalent to 23rd of April 2025. Ibrahim Shahada. Vice President Kashim Shettima is chairing the 149th session of the National Economic Council, the first such meeting since the president declared emergency rule in Rivers State. Among those attending today's deliberations is retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ipe Ivas, now serving as the sole administrator of the troubled state. The council meeting began at midday and saw the presence of Delta State Governor Sheriff Oberewari, who only yesterday defected from the People's Democratic Party to the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC), alongside his predecessor Ifeanyi Okowa, the PDP's former vice presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election. Today's session follows of a key national initiatives, including the Nutrition 774 program aimed at combating malnutrition nationwide. And finally, the Nigerian Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, have announced plans for a forensic audit of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. Speaking at the Nigerian Investor Forum on the sidelines of the IMF World Bank Spring meetings in Washington, D.C., Wale Edun stated that the recent restructuring within the NNPCL forms part of a broader effort to cleanse the system and restore public and investor confidence. Addressing top executives from global financial giants like JP Morgan, the minister reiterated Nigeria's commitment to economic reform and transparency. The audit is expected to provide clearer insight into the operations of the state oil company, which has long been criticized for lack of accountability. The Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has today approved a cash-based travel allowance for Nigerian pilgrims performing the 2025 Hajj, marking a shift from the previously mandated ATM card-based system. This development follows a direct appeal by the Vice President to President Bola Tinubu, conveyed through the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria. The bank had earlier required pilgrims to open travel-linked accounts for withdrawals in Saudi Arabia, but with mounting appeals from the faithful. The CBN has now agreed to permit cash transactions during the pilgrimage, providing pilgrims with greater flexibility as they undertake their spiritual journey. Now to industrial matters. And striking staff at the Nigeria Meteorological Agency NIMET have shut down operations for a second straight day in the Federal Capital Territory. Under the banner of the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation, Civil Service, Technical and Recreational Services employees, workers blocked the agency's headquarters with placards and banners, demanding wage improvements and long overdue promotions. Frustrated employees told reporters that they compelled to take to the street due to the government's delay in implementing the newly approved minimum wage and have vowed not to return to work until their concerns of the agency has yet to comment officially. A response is expected following a meeting with the supervising minister. To aviation, ongoing strike action by staff of the Nigerian Meteorology disrupted domestic air travel, grounding flights at major airports, including Abuja and Lagos. Air Peace, one of Nigeria's largest carriers, suspended all operations nationwide after its CEO, Allen Onyema, cited safety concerns due to the lack of real-time weather updates from NIMET. In a widely calculated video, Mr. Onyema insisted that no flight should operate under such risky conditions, stressing the importance of human life and equipment safety over operational pressure. The strike, now in its second day, has left countless passengers stranded, with no end yet in sight, as NIMET officials remain silent on when normal services will resume. In another news, the Federal High Court in Abuja, where Justice Emeka Nwite has granted the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission permission to arrest and detain 6 alleged promoters of a cryptocurrency investment scam worth over 1 billion, accused of luring investors into a fraudulent scheme under the guise of Crypto Bridge Exchange as ST Technologies International Limited. Fadila Yusuf, EFCC counsel, informed the court that the accused are currently at large and that arrest warrants are necessary to scale their appearance for formal investigation. And the commission alleges the suspect promised extravagant returns up to 100% to unsuspecting in what it describes as a wide-reaching operation. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board is progressing steadily and is expected to conclude on May. At several CBT centers, including Karudu in Abuja, Future Academy in Nasarawa State, candidate professional handling of the station, with biometric verification reportedly starting at 6:30 a.m. Candidates such as Stephanie Okori described their experience, though minor delays were reported as Bingham University sent an arrangement. Traveling from neighboring states to arrive early to avoid disruptions on the day of their exams. Now to Rivers State. In Port Harcourt, its capital, a large group of women under the banner of Rivers Women United for SIM State today, urging the federal government to restore peace to Rivers State and reinstate suspended governor Siminalayi Fubara. The demonstrators called on President Tinubu in what they describe as an unjust political crisis, stressing that had committed no wrongdoing warranting his removal. Solidarity slogans, the women insisted that also suspended elected officials and pledged continued support for Siminalayi Fubara. This was in a series of public protests by women's groups since the governor's suspension in March. And don't forget, the news is called 104.9. Do stay with us for more.
This is news on the hour. So our radio FM.
Welcome back. Hadija local government in Jigawa State has renewed its commitment to enhancing education in the area, with an essential draws to schools. Speaking at the local government council chairman Alhaji Ahmed Abba Ari, the initiative aims to improve both teaching and learning environment, while also equipping schools with first aid kits for emergency use. He emphasized that the move aligns with the 12-point agenda of Governor Umar Namadi and urged school officials and parents to make prudent use of the distributed resources. Alhaji Musa Garba, the Education Secretary, revealed that 53 primary schools will benefit from over 5,000 certificate sheets and less than 22 junior secondary receive additional teaching materials, medical supplies, and educational kits, and for the council's effort in timely salary payments and staff. The federal announced the release of 50 billion naira to settle outstanding allowances for staff of federal universities. While the move put a promise by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and is seen as a step toward stabilizing academic staff in March, over the complete the story.
allowances. The committee of Bola education signed by the ministry spokesperson, Bola Shadi, as a strategic step to ensure the continuity of President Tinubu's agenda in education. He remarks that the payment is more than a financial obligation, of belief in Nigerian youth, and a recognition of the vital role staff play in shaping their future. The minister added that by placing staff well, the administration is laying the groundwork for properly competent education. Over the government's perceived bias and exclusionary casting doubt over whether this financial gesture can truly bring lasting peace to Nigeria's embattled university system. But the key question remains, will this intervention, if actualized, finally resolve the long-standing disputes between the government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, in Nigeria? Mariam Jibril Yusuf reporting for Saba FM.
Thank you, Mariam. Well, in Kano State, authorities have suspended the monthly citation exercise originally scheduled for April in a move to support the students participating in the ongoing JAM examination. The decision, confirmed by the Commissioner for Environment and Climate Change, Dr. Dahiru M. Hashim, was made to prevent disruptions and allow candidates to travel and sit their exams without obstruction. Was resident to the security officer, while the university affirms its commitment to student safety and institutional integrity. The Yobe State Arabic and Islamic Education Board has begun distributing sleeping mats and mosquito nets to Almajiri pupils across the state in a significant welfare initiative. Executive Secretary of the board, Malam Umar Abubakar, said the distribution aims to improve the living conditions of pupils attending Sangaya schools, in line with directives from the state government. The initiative targets 100 pupils in each of Yobe's 17 local government areas, beginning with students from Goni Yahaya and Goni Muhammad Sangaya schools in Damaturu. School leaders have praised the gesture as timely and transformative, with the head of Goni Muhammad Sangaya noting that such support will not only aid in disease prevention, but also promote comfort and dignity for the children during rest and study. Now to a disturbing humanitarian update from Nigeria's northeast, where critical health and nutrition services for displaced persons have been shut down amid deep funding cuts. Tens of thousands are at risk as aid organizations scale back operations. Umuslima Adam Eco reports.
Yeah, humanitarian efforts are drastically shut down due to severe funding cuts, leaving tens of thousands internally displaced persons across Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states exposed to worsening health and nutrition crisis. Critical programs that once provided life-saving care, such as the treatment of severe acute malnutrition and access to primary health care, have been either reduced or entirely shut down, especially in hard-hit areas like Banki, Bama, Dikwa, and Ingala. Withdrawal of major health partners including FHIC60, Interforce, and Care International of essential services such as anti-emergency referrals and blood transfusion. Children with complication was now be transported for hours to neighboring Cameroon, while those with moderate cases face limited or no support due to shortages of ready-to-use supplementary food. In Bama alone, 2 midwives and 6 community health workers remain responsible for nearly 150,000 people, with no doctors available and no emergency night services, fueling faced with rising maternal and child mortality. The nutrition sector too is on the brink, with suspended feeding programs and the closure of multiple therapeutic feeding sites, resulting in a sharp increase in malnutrition cases. In Igala and Spa, the shutdown of general hospitals and primary health care centers has strained the few remaining facilities, which now report overwhelming patient load and surging cases of respiratory infections, malaria, and diarrheal diseases. Meanwhile, multiple disease outbreaks like cholera, measles, cerebrospinal meningitis, diphtheria, and pertussis are compounding the humanitarian emergency, with hundreds of infections and dozens of deaths already recorded across 3 states. Security for rapid spread, as aid workers struggle to limited supplies and no molecular laboratory. Further complicated response effort, escalating attacks by non-state armed groups have displaced more communities in Gujiba and Mungunu local government areas, forcing families into overcrowded shelters without food, water, and medical care. Humanitarian agencies have also come under direct attack, with aid office burned, staff abducted, and vehicles destroyed, prompting a temporary suspension of field activities. And in a major operational shift, the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has confirmed it will significantly scale down its footprint in Nigeria by 2026, transitioning to humanitarian advisory team model, yet another sign of dwindling global support amid a deepening crisis. Umusama Adam Iko, reporting for Swaba FM.
Thank you, Salma. And now to the international scene. At least 8 people have been killed and dozens wounded following a massive Russian missile strike on Kyiv, Ukraine's capital, in one of the most devastating attacks in recent months. The State Emergency Service reported multiple blasts through the night, with rescue workers battling fires and searching through rubble in residential areas, as over 40 people, including children, were hospitalized. Russia also launched 7 missiles at Kharkiv and claimed to have shot down 87 Ukrainian drones, adding to the carnage amid faltering ceasefire talks. Ukraine's President Zelensky has again called for an unconditional end to hostilities, while United States diplomatic efforts remain in doubt following critical remarks from the former President Donald Trump, who blames Zelensky for prolonging the war. In Central Africa, A tentative truce has been announced between Democratic Republic of Congo's government and Rwanda-backed M23 rebel following negotiations in Doha. The ceasefire, which comes after years of intermittent violence, was brokered by Qatari officials and aims to halt hostilities while broader peace talks continue. Both sides pledged to reject hate speech and intimidation, but fresh clashes in South Kivu suggest the situation remains fragile. The Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have long been at odds over rebel support and regional security. Yet, the joint statement has been welcomed by international observers as a critical step toward long-term peace. Now to the sport news. Real Madrid midfielder Eduardo Camavinga will miss the remainder of the season after being diagnosed with groin injury, the club announced today. The French international picked up the injury during Real Madrid's 1-0 win over Getafe in La Liga on Wednesday. And according to Spanish media, Camavinga is expected to miss Saturday's Copa del Rey final against rivals Barcelona, along with Madrid's final 5 league matches, as they attempt to close the gap on the Catalan leaders. Reports also suggest Camavinga might miss the Club World Cup in the United States this summer, with estimates putting his recovery time at around 3 months. The 22-year-old has struggled to find consistent form this season, despite playing a key role in Real Madrid's La Liga and Champions League triumphs last year. Before rounding up the news, here is our weather report.
For tomorrow weather, Hadejia, by God's willing, tomorrow will be mostly sunny at 42 degrees Celsius. Dutse, the state capital, tomorrow will be mostly sunny at 42 degrees Celsius. Gume and Ringim, tomorrow will be sunny at 42 degrees Celsius. Inguru in Yobe State, tomorrow will be at 42 degrees Celsius. Kano, tomorrow will be mostly sunny at 41 degrees Celsius. Kaduna, tomorrow, by God's willing, will be 37 degrees Celsius. Bauchi will be mostly cloudy at 40 degrees Celsius. Abuja, the federal capital, will be partly cloudy at 34 degrees Celsius. Moving on to Niger Republic. Niamey will be partly cloudy at 43 degrees Celsius. Maradi will be partly cloudy at 43 degrees Celsius. Zindai will be mostly sunny at 43 degrees Celsius. Fatima Bakar Filati, Sawaba FM.
And now a recap of the major headlines. Vice President Kashim Shettima chairs the 149 National Economic Council meeting. Nationwide exams by Nigeria's Joint Admission and Matriculation Board continue with assessment expected to conclude by the 5th of May. Ijigawa State Hadejia Local Government Council reaffirms support for education. At least 8 dead and dozens injured in Kyiv as Russia launches one of its most devastating missile strikes. On behalf of the news department, our editor Kabir Zuberi Bonokudu, I continue to announce that Muslima Adam Iko, I'm Amina Ibrahim Shahada. Have a good night.